So I've started back on the tow rail, and I think this is the only spot I need to repair. So this piece cracked on me when I was installing it, and I just never got around to fixing it before we put it in the water. So I've been shaping this little piece to fit in there. And I'm gonna go ahead and get it screwed down in place with some caulking, and then I'll come back and shape it to the rest of the tow rail. I'm also gonna go ahead and pull this track off. That way I can sand the tow rail easier, and it shouldn't be that much trouble to take it off. That way I can also varnish underneath it, just to help protect the top of this tow rail a little bit better. Definitely put way too much in there, but I wanted to make sure I got good squeeze out all the way around, and I didn't want to have to redo it, so it's better to have too much. Just clean up the rest. Alright, so I'm also working on getting these trim pieces, this eyebrow trim. You can see it on the side of the cabin there. I never installed these pieces because I thought that I had destroyed these, taking them off a long time ago, these little corner pieces. But after doing some cleaning up and organization, I actually found them. So I was about to just remake them, but luckily I found them, so it's going to save me a lot of time. And this piece I did break a little bit, so I'm going to figure out how to probably cut it like an angle right here, glue on a new piece, and then shape it to match this back side. Shouldn't be too hard. So I just taped this piece down so I can cut an angle on it. Couldn't really think of a better way to hold the piece, so.
So we came to the lake for the weekend and decided to take out our Victoria 18 we haven't used in a while. So Zach and Danny cleaned her up, and now we're out here with Ryan and just cruising. Oh, ho!
I feel wind, but it's not pushing us.
Coming in hot. I'm gonna beach it. Brace.
You're supposed to hold your mouth open when you're about to have an impact. The wind is, the sail is blowing y'all ashore.
Yeah.
Well, y'all have some wind, you might as well sail over there.
Zach's gonna drive the truck around and meet us at the boat ramp, but the wind just picked up. It's been dead for like an hour, and as soon as he gets off the boat, the wind picks up, so we're gonna sail around for a little bit. Yeah, I can't see.
Alright, so I'm going through all the wiring in the boat, and I've already removed these old panels. It had this one here and this one, and this is just all that is pretty much stuff that was just not even hooked to anything. I mean, the big cables were hooked to the main batteries, but everything was just kind of messy. I found some melted wires, so I really just don't trust any of the wiring, so I'm just ripping it all out and just gonna start over and simplify it a lot and do just a fresh, clean install, so I know where everything is and I know that I can trust it. So yeah, ripping everything out and starting fresh, and then underneath here gonna put the 2 batteries, starter, and then just one house battery for now. And I'm going to take, this was the piece that was mounted here, and that's like the main panel that opens down, and then so I think I'm going to take this piece home and maybe just cut out a new panel for when I decide which switches I'm going to use, and then I can just cut it out on the CNC maybe and just have a really nice, clean, simple electrical panel. Alright, so I've been working on the new electrical panel for the Catalina, and this is where I'm at right now. So this is just a prototype, just cut out of some MDF for now, and I just wanted to cut the whole thing out just to make sure all my measurements were right, the hole sizes were right. I'm glad I did, because I made some I messed something up, and these holes are a little bit too small, and I had just programmed something wrong in the software, but I've got that fixed now. So this is going to be the AC side, and this will be the DC. This will be a bunch of switches. For the DC, I'm just going to use these little rocker switches, and then over here I'm going to use, for the AC, I'm going to use these nice breakers. Then this big cutout is going to be for a battery monitor. And I went ahead and added in the Catalina logo. And that's just because a lot of the stock panels have this logo on there. And I don't know, I thought it would be kind of funny and cool to add in the Catalina logo. So I think I'm ready. I'm gonna cut out one more piece of MDF just to make sure everything is exactly right before I cut it out of this stuff. This is HDPE, and this is two-tone, so when you cut through this top surface, you're left with a colored surface on the underside. And this was just another testing out the size for the breakers, testing out the text. I cut this one a little too deep, so in the final piece it should look a lot better. And the actual one is going to be white with black underneath, so I think it'll look pretty slick. Alright, so this thing finished, and pretty happy with how it turned out. It looks good. I went ahead and put some of these little stickers in just to test them out. A couple of spots didn't cut quite deep enough, like here. You can still see there's still a little bit of this white plastic. So I think that's just because the way I had it taped down was with double-sided tape, and there was just some inconsistencies in the material. So I think I'm just going to try to come back with maybe just a little Dremel bit of some kind. And this is like really thin, so maybe I can just kind of sand that back a little bit just to expose the black. And these are going to get covered with stickers like these, but there's a little ring around the edges where you'll see the black, and I'd rather that be black on all of them. Same thing up here on the text. I just need to do a little bit of deburring. But yeah, cut it out. Took about 20 minutes of machine time to cut it. But yeah, these switches fit good. And then the breakers, looks like they're gonna fit fine. I just need to route out this backside a little bit so that these can sit down into it, because this material is a little too thick. So I just have to route like an 1/8 inch pocket for all these to sit down into. So I'll do that later. But looks pretty cool. I'm happy with how it turned out. Alright, so pretty much done shaping this thing. And turned out pretty good. Better than I thought it was going to turn out. Of course, I dropped it though and broke this piece. So I'm just going to have to epoxy these little fragments back in. And then just sand that down a little bit. But it should be good to go. I'm going to go test fit it right now. Alright, well I think I got a pretty good fit. So what I'll do is just finish cleaning these up and getting the back sides clean. And then I'll go ahead and glue these in place using some probably 3M 4000 or 4200. And then once those are adhered in place, I'll come back and kind of sand them and shape them to where they match each other a little better. And I'll also glue in some new bungs once these are adhered. But I'm glad that I was able to find these and reuse them. These pieces are really intricate to make. I made one up in the cockpit area, and it took a long time to carve it. These aren't really as bad. That one was harder, but they're just hard because they have this contour kind of 3D shape to them, so it would have been pretty hard to match. So this is one that I made from scratch because I had broke that piece. And it took a while to carve it and get it to fit right. But it turned out okay. It definitely, you could tell that it's different from the rest of the pieces, but it kind of has a cool handmade, hand-carved look. And I don't mind that, So I installed these pieces the same way. I just glued them in place with 4200, and then I just came back and filled the screw holes with some bungs, and these are on there really well and a lot less prone to leaks now.